What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogre and I'm going to be doing my ranking for my top 10 favorite movies of 2008. So this is part of a series I'm doing where I rank my 10 favorite movies of each year since I was born. And it's also part of my top 10 Tuesdays, so... But 2008 was a really good year for movies, and there's a lot that I couldn't fit on this list and everything, so... I might do some honorable mentions towards the end of the video and everything if I can think of ones I want to put on there and everything. But I just want to say that this was a pretty big year for movies, so it was hard to condense down to just 10, but I found 10 of my most favorites. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get going. Coming in at number 10 is Twilight. Now, I hear you, this is not the best movie ever. It is cheesy as hell. It has really, really corny, bad dialogue, and the acting is just so. But I love this movie and everything. Part of it is it helped me through a really hard time in my life and everything. Reading the Twilight books and watching the movies when they first came out, I was a teenager. I was kind of the perfect age for Twilight, although most guys didn't like it. I was one of the few guys that did like Twilight, but I was really invested in the story of Bella Swan and Edward Cullen and all that back then, and I rewatched them here a while back, and I feel like they hold up pretty well for me, personally. I still enjoy this first one especially quite a bit and everything. It's not a perfect movie, it's not anything special, it's not even really a good movie, but it's kind of a comfort movie for me. So Twilight is number 10, and number 9 is Sex Drive. I absolutely love this movie. This movie is absolutely hilarious. It came out in the middle of the big boom of raunchy comedies that came out in the late early 2000s and everything, and it kind of got overlooked because it was an independent movie and everything, and it is just an absolute blast from start to finish. It is absolutely hilarious. There were so many great jokes in this movie. I've reviewed it and everything, I think. So if you want to hear my full thoughts, you can check out my review. But this movie is absolutely hilarious. Very, very underrated and everything. So if you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend Sex Drive. It's number 9. And number 8 is Dr. Seuss's Horton Hears the Who. Now, this movie I think is very underrated too. It's one that came out, it was a pretty decent hit when it came out, and then it just kind of wasn't talked about ever again and everything. And I've always loved this movie. I think it's one of the best animated movies of the decade and everything. And I think a huge part of that is because of Jim Carrey's just really awesome voice performances. Horton, he just is really great in there and everything. He's such a lovable character, and Steve Carell as the mayor is really good too and everything. And it has a really strong supporting voice cast with Carol Burnett and Will Arnett and many others, Seth Rogen and many other people. So it has a really good supporting cast too, and I absolutely love this movie. Horton Hears the Who is a blast from start to finish and everything. So it's number 8, and number 7 is Wally. This is one of Pixar's best movies too. I really love this movie. It's a really great animated movie. The animation is great, the story is great, and I just really love this one. It's a fun time and everything. The first 30 minutes of it barely has any talking at all and everything, just little mainly noises that Wally makes and stuff and everything. Is almost a silent movie at the beginning of it, and then he goes to space and everything gets kind of crazy and stuff, but it's still a lot of fun and everything. And it's got a good story about the environment and stuff without being too preachy, and it's also just a good love story about Wally and Eva, and it's just a really, really good movie. I've always really enjoyed this one. So Wally is number 7, and number 6 is Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Now I know at first I had Twilight and now I've had this one on here, so y'all are probably definitely not taking me very seriously anymore, but I love this movie. This was my introduction to Indiana Jones. I was 16 when it came out, so I was kind of the perfect age for this type of movie and everything. I had no experience with the other Indiana Jones movies before I saw this one, so I went in kind of not even knowing what to expect except hopefully a fun time. And I absolutely love this movie. It is a blast from start to finish. I love the alien stuff. All the stuff that everybody complains about, I like, except for the CGI monkeys. I do agree with that. The CGI monkeys I could have done without, but the rest of it didn't bother me and everything. I love the alien story line, and I love, like, Shia LaBeouf. I love him in this movie. His character, Mo Williams. In fact, them killing him off screen between movies and stuff when the fifth one came out. I really didn't like that movie because that was one of the main reasons I didn't like Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. But this one is, I love this one. I just don't get it. And the nuke the fridge scene, that's one of my favorite scenes in the entire franchise. People love to make fun of it, and I do get it. It is really kind of corny and stuff, and very unrealistic and stuff, but it is a fun scene and everything. So, but yeah, I really like Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So it's number 6, and number 5 is Forgetting Sarah Marshall. This is one of my favorite comedies of all time. I feel like it's one of the most underrated comedies of all time too. It's another one that kind of like Sex Drive, that I was the perfect age for this movie when I saw it, and it is really, really good and everything. Jason Segel is absolutely perfect in the lead role. He is funny as hell and everything, and it's got a really great supporting cast with Kristen Bell, Russell Brand, Mila Kunis, Paul Rudd, Jonah Hill, and many, many more and everything. It just really stacked cast and everything of these comedians doing all kinds of really fun stuff in Hawaii, and it's just a really, really fun movie and everything. So Forgetting Sarah Marshall is number 5, and number 4 is Iron Man. I absolutely love the first Iron Man movie. I'm a big fan of the MCU. In this movie, I did not ever expect to like as much as I did and everything. My girlfriend at the time kept on telling me I needed to see it and everything, and I finally watched it, and I fell in love with this movie and everything, and it is a blast from start to finish and everything, and it is a really great movie. Robert Downey Jr. is just absolutely perfect as Tony Stark, and there's not anything else I can say about this movie that I haven't said before. I've reviewed it before, and I've talked about the MCU quite a bit, so I don't want to keep repeating myself, but yeah, I love Iron Man. So it's number 4, and number 3 is High School Musical 3 Senior Year. I absolutely love this movie. It is a blast from start to finish. It's a really, really good ending to the High School Musical trilogy, and I absolutely love it. The cast are all, once again, really great. The songs in this one are really good too. Not the best songs in the franchise and everything, but not the worst either. I think all 3 of them are kind of on par with each other as far as music goes. Anyway, I think all 3 of them have some of the best songs in Disney musical movies and everything. And this is just another one, like with the first 2, that I have a lot of special memories with my best friend and everything watching this movie. So I hold the High School Musicals really high in regard and stuff in my heart because of that and everything. So if you're watching Bestie, I love you. But I love High School Musical and everything. And High School Musical 3 is a really great ending to the trilogy. So it's number 3. And number 2 is Step Brothers. 2008 was a dang good year for comedies and everything, because there's 2 other comedies that I'm going to go ahead and give honorable mentions to that I didn't put on this list. Pineapple Express and Zack and Mary Make a Porno. This was a stacked year for comedies, and I just couldn't fit them all in this top 10 list. But Step Brothers is a really, really fun movie. I absolutely love this movie and everything. From the very opening scene to the very end of it, it is laugh out loud, hilarious and everything, with really great performances from John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell, and great supporting cast. Mary Steenburgen and Richard Jenkins are hilarious too. Adam Scott is great. It's really, really excellent movie and one of the greatest comedies of all time. So Step Brothers is number 2, and my number 1 favorite movie of 2008 is The Dark Knight. I absolutely love this movie. Everybody who loves superhero movies would probably say this is the best movie of 2008. I know tons of people who even go as far to say this is the greatest superhero movie of all time. And it is one of my favorites of all time for sure. It's definitely probably in my top 5, but it's not my most favorite of all time, but it is easily my favorite movie that came out that year. It is such a great story, and we get some really great performances. One of the most legendary villain performances with Heath Ledger's Joker, and all the other supporting cast are all once again really great, especially Aaron Eckhart. I don't think he gets enough credit for his version of Two-Face and everything. He's really good too, and I've always loved Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon, and I really like Christian Bale, of course, as Bruce Wayne. I don't really like his Batman voice, but I do like him as Bruce Wayne a lot, and I don't really care for him as Batman because of that voice, so. But the movie is so good and everything, and even his Batman voice isn't enough to ruin this masterpiece and everything. So The Dark Knight is easily my number 1 favorite movie of 2008. So anyway, let me know in the comments what your favorite movies of that year are, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.